Everybody, welcome again to another IronHike podcast. Today we have a mountain athlete with us, Tasha Boyd, and we're also joined by IronHike co-founders Cliff Anders, Dr. Scott Festa, and Paul Seeley, aka Pac-Man. And we are interested in finding out a little bit about Tasha and her background and her experience with an IronHike. And before we get started, we'll show a couple of really cool pictures. Tell us what's going on in this picture right here, Tasha.
I am at the summit. This was day 2, and I'm doing a handstand. It is a goal that I have wherever I travel that I do a handstand. And I didn't do it on day 1. Might have been easier, but I got it done on day 2.
Yep, and I think here you are with your finisher's medal and a handsome group of folks there. And yeah, more big hugs everywhere. That's our infamous bell and bucket, and that's you with looks like a cookie, a hat, and a medal and a bib, all right there. So with that, I'm going to unshare this, and we're going to kind of get into the conversation. So, Tasha, tell us a little bit about 2 things. You have a really cool, what we call in our culture, a trail name, and your trail name is Unstoppable. Right? And I want you to, if you could share a little bit about what that means and maybe get a little bit into your backstory, like why are you into endurance sport? Why are you into athletics at all?
Sure. So it's a long story. I'll try to tighten it up a little bit. But in 2001, I had a diagnosis related to my spinal cord, and it was pretty miserable. I struggled to get across the street. My goal every day was to get across the street to get the mail, and I very rarely made that goal. Thankfully, medical technology saved me. I had a device implanted and was able to function with that device, but it kept failing. So I've had total in my life 22 surgeries, but on my spine, I've had it's like 14 or 15 of them were on my spine. Anyways, the last time that my surgeon worked on my spine, he said, if this fails again, this is it. We can't do it. There's nothing that we can do. And unfortunately, that did happen. And I found myself not able to move and without any hope, because that medical device had literally been taken away from me at that point. I went to a church service. I wasn't looking for any kind of miracle or whatever, but it happened, and I was healed, just singing praise and worship songs in my church. It happened. And when that happened, I decided that I had been given a gift, and I really wanted to see what this healed body could do. And having, try to get across the street to get the mail, I went from that to a couch to 5K program, ran a 5K. A little while later, I ran a half marathon because I was like, why not? If I can run a 5K, I can run a half marathon. Then I ran a marathon. I did back-to-back marathons. So within the span of a few months, I did two full marathons. In total, I've done 7 full marathons, and I can say now maybe 2 ultras, because I had previously done 1 race, an ultra race, and then I finished IronHike, the Everest. So I think I could say I did another ultra, maybe.
So I would say Everest is an ultra. It's 61 miles in 3 days. That's an ultra distance for sure.
Yeah.
And that's just under a marathon a day. And there's no flat miles. I want to point that out. There's 0 flat mileage in that ultra. So
yeah,
very cool. So wow, what a gift you were given, and what way to really smash the juice out of that opportunity every day, right?
Yeah.
I could relate to that personally as well. So tell us how you found us, and then also about your experience with us.
So how I found you was I'm a bodybuilder now. That's really my focus on this next kind of, let's see what this body can do adventure. And I was planning to get on stage, and then I needed the next thing. So like, what am I going to do after this season, kind of? And I was searching, and I had seen Everesting events and was drawn to them. I thought it sounded really exciting. I do still have some medical reasons that would keep me from actually climbing Everest, but if I could, I would go and do it. I just have like half a lung, so I don't think I can do the altitude. But anyways, so I was searching for that, and you guys popped up in my Instagram, and I loved. So what brought me to you and what made me excited was that, well, first of all, the cost of some other events was like way out of my. It was not going to happen. Um, and but when I saw that you guys go up and down and you tent, and it's like, I don't know, something about what I saw in your Instagram made me feel like it was family, which now I know that it is 100% like that. I was very, very drawn to you. And then you were so responsive when I reached out. I can't even remember what the first conversation was, but it just felt right.
Yeah, we hear that all the time, that it feels right. Just different and right, and that's what we really are going for, that vibe. Like, it's different and it feels right, and everyone feels comfortable.
You know, John, he contacted me pretty early on, and he's like, "Hey, you need to talk to Tasha." And I'm like, "Who? What? Tasha? What?" And he's like, "Tasha, you need to talk to Tasha." And then that's when you and I started that dialogue, and
Yeah.
and it was just like an old friend, you know. So yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah, I'm really happy with that dynamic where you can 3 o'clock in the morning, you finish a lap, and there's one of the owners, not some kid that we pay minimum wage, one of the founders, one of the primary people right there at the fire, just egging you on, like, oh yeah, and you're in a sleeping bag, not getting any sleep, not that. So early on, John connected us. I'm happy he did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm hearing the words like wholesome and genuine lately, which has been really kind of the vibe we're chasing. So, so tell us. So say I've never heard of this IronHike thing. Tell me how it went. Like, you got on an airplane, you flew out to Connecticut somewhere, you rented a car. Tell us the story, like in like 3 to 4 minutes, like your whole story, like your first impression, how it went, like what you thought of it, that whole thing.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I ended up flying out alone. My husband initially was going to come with, and that wasn't able to happen. So get on the airplane, get to Connecticut. I need to get a car. That whole airport, by the way, it's fabulous. It's like the easiest, smoothest, I loved it. It's not a big, huge airport. It was super easy to get my car and get on the road. And then the drive, I was super surprised. I'd never been to Connecticut before, didn't know what to expect. To me, it felt like that I live in Minnesota, and it felt like the North Shore of Minnesota, driving the path from the airport to the mountain.
Beautiful.
And it was just like phenomenal. I'm like, wow. And it never felt like I was in the city ever. I don't know that I ever was, but
You weren't.
the drive was just beautiful. And then I got there. What was kind of fun was that there was another athlete in the parking lot in the front, and we kind of connected. And then she's like, I don't know, I saw a couple cars. I did plan to tent Friday night, so before we started, which for me, it just got me ready. I felt better being there. Loved being a part of the beginning. Everybody was super welcoming. I know that it was Paul and Cliff that were there when we got there. Huge hugs. It was just fun and great to, see everybody and get started and setting up our tents and all of it. And then as people came, it felt like a family reunion. I mean, we didn't know anybody, like really nobody knew each other, right? But there was just this camaraderie, this familiarity with everybody. We all have the same goal. We're all doing this together. That first day on the mountain, I tend to be the hype squad, right? Like that's just kind of how I am. So it was incredible to like spend that beginning ceremony and being able to share my testimony a little bit and my story. And then on the mountain to be able to like give those high fives and the smiles and we had like nicknames for each other and all this kind of stuff going back and forth up and down the mountain. Loved it. It was incredible, the whole thing. And yes, it was a physical endurance. What we're doing with our bodies is pretty incredible, but I feel like I've never had an experience like it before. I've talked about, I've done a lot of races. I've done a lot of things. athletically, this didn't feel, it doesn't compare to anything that I've done before at all.
So tell us about the person that showed up to hike 1/4 of a 15-mile day. And on the same course, there was a world-renowned triple crowner whose name is Quadzilla. Was that like kind of a great vibe for you, or what? That was kind of cool. Right?
It was so cool. It was so like we were all the same. It didn't matter if there that hiker that's out there for 12 hours or the hiker that's going to be there for, good Lord, till Wednesday, right?
4 days. Yeah, and so
like,
somebody asked me about that, and they go, how does that work? I said, well, everyone there is pushing their own limit. That's what we all have in common, right? So that one person doing the 5K, she's pushing her limit, like in the case of my wife. Quadzilla's pushing his limit. He's done a triple crown, but he's never done 151 miles over 73,000 feet of elevation gain in one outing, right? So that was such a cool vibe. You know, I remember multiple times you passed me a lot. Everyone passed me a lot, but I remember the trekking pole moment we had where I spent some time showing you how to adjust your trekking pole, and like so much of that goes on, right?
Yeah. It's amazing. It's such a supportive, helpful, but also like really fun environment. It's just good. Yeah, I loved it. Everybody, like, and being out there, I mean, to be out there with Quadzilla, I've, following him and watching him, and then here I am like hiking up and down the mountain with him, but everybody's just, there's no hierarchy. There's not like one athlete is better than the other for whatever they're doing, and it was amazing to feel that.
So you just registered again for June, didn't you?
I did, because I miss you guys. I'm like, I want to go I gotta be out there. I need to do it again. I knew that I would do June. I have a program that I run, and I was really worried that the dates were going to be a conflict, and they're not. So my June program is on the 23rd. So I got plenty of time to do IronHike and then get home and be home for a little bit before I go do my other program. But
thank you for sharing.
I'm ready. And excited. And then October, I think I've got a whole team that's going to come out. I've got a bunch of lady veterans and firefighters and first responders that want to come and challenge themselves. So October.
That's really exciting. So what advice would you give to someone who's considering to do this, even from as far away as, where did you fly in from? What city?
Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Yeah, so even if you live halfway across the country, what's your advice to people considering to do, doing this?
Do it. First of all, you can, because I know that when we look at the mileage, we look at the time, we look at all of it, it seems like, what? Can I? Yes, you can. And it's because of the support and what's available in this community to make it happen. So yeah, do it. I think it's something that, we always say to go do something hard. This is something hard that everybody can do and be proud of, for sure.
Yeah. So anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap up today and publish this here shortly?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks. I think you guys are, who knew? I was just blown away by what you guys have built and what was offered to me out there. A lot of I did have a really tough year, and this was, I'm not going to cry on this podcast, but it was like what my heart and soul needed. So I'm super, super grateful.
Yeah, I know a little bit about the things that you dealt with recently, and it really is our pleasure to be kind of your new tribe and your new family.
So grateful.
Little victories come when they're absolutely needed, and I think you had a very good victory on that mountain. So it's pretty cool to watch you accomplish that.
I also think that she had a very good between lap masseuse.
No, that's true.
Yes,
that is true.
We have photographs. Yeah, and I don't know if that's part of the standard service. It was just
well, I mean, we went down the mountain with that gate, I wanted to see her beat the mountain. That's what I wanted to see her do. So I'd rather help her out and accomplish the goal, and that's what ended up happening. We had to jump in.
You got to see Pac-Man on every summit too.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
I do want to say that to that, Cliff, that my doctor here at home is absolutely blown away by my recovery. He thought I was going to be months. You know, I'm just not that way. I am unstoppable. But I do know that
Yes.
your expertise and what you did for me on that mountain was huge. So thank you for that.
I'm glad to hear that, especially from the doc.
Yes.
Right,
Yes, it's good. I'm squatting heavy now. It's good.
Right on.
Yeah, I follow you. I watch large amounts of weights being thrown around in complete awe. So, all right, everybody. Yeah, and Tasha, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you on the mountain. See you in
Yes.
June.
Thanks, guys.
In June, keep working towards your next goal.
Yes, I will.
Bring all those friends. Come on. Cliff, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to the next one. I got to pick up a kid at 8:45.
All right. Yeah, I hear you, man. You got 20 minutes. So,
Yeah. I'll probably be there for 10 and then
all right.
Full pitch.
Sounds like a plan, boss.
That's right. I said full pitch.
You did. I heard it.
Flight surgeon right here.
Plus or minus 30 seconds, baby.
Yes, sir. All right. We'll see you in the next one.